So China's two sessions just wrapped up. And yeah, that 5% growth target, it grabbed all the headlines. But the real story, the one that actually matters for your business, it's not in the economic data. It's buried deep in the legal fine print. And today, we're going to decode the 6 signals you absolutely cannot afford to miss.
Yeah, you've definitely seen the headlines. A GDP growth target of around 5%? It sets the tone for the year, for sure. But trust me, it's just the opening chapter of a much bigger story.
The truly actionable intelligence, the insights that are actually going to shape your strategy, they're not hiding in the economic forecasts. Nope. They're tucked away in these dense, kind of boring reports from China's highest courts. This is where policy stops being theory and becomes practice.
And those reports? Well, they've sent out 6 critical signals that are set to completely reshape the digital and legal landscape for any company operating in or with China. You ready to decode them? Let's dive in. All right, first up, artificial intelligence. For the last couple of years, AI has been this huge policy blueprint, right? A big idea. Well, that's changing. It's now becoming a judicial reality. The courts are officially being told to get involved. And this quote right here from the Supreme People's Court, it's an absolute game changer. This isn't just a suggestion, it's a direct order to the entire judicial system. So that old excuse, the algorithm did it, yeah, as a legal defense, that's pretty much over. Now, check this out. You see this number, 908? That's how many data ownership cases the Supreme Court specifically highlighted. In a country of 1.4 billion people, you're probably thinking, that sounds tiny, right? Wrong. These aren't just any cases. They're what we call signal cases. They set precedents that every single lower court has to follow. It's basically the court planting a massive flag and telling everyone data rights are now a top judicial priority. And this brings us straight to our second signal. A landmark case has fundamentally redefined data. It's not just about personal privacy anymore. It's a protected commercial asset. It's property. How'd they do it? Through this brilliant legal innovation called the 3 rights separation. Instead of getting bogged down in the impossible question of who owns data, they created a system of functional, protectable rights. You could almost think of it like creating a copyright, but for data. Let's break this down real quick. The framework protects data at 3 different stages. First, the right to simply hold it. Second, the right to process it and pull out valuable insights. And third, the right to actually sell the data product you create. The bottom line here is simple. China's legal system is now set up to fiercely protect commercial data assets, not just personal information. Okay, let's move on to signal number 3, and you'll see how all these pieces are starting to connect. China's foundational cybersecurity law just got a huge update, and the new interpretation has some really powerful implications. And listen, this isn't ancient history we're talking about. This is all happening right now. The law just took effect a few months ago, and the 2 sessions just gave us the very first glimpse of how it's actually going to be enforced. The heart of this whole revision is Article 20, and it has this fascinating 2-pronged approach. On one hand, it provides the legal firepower to regulate AI systems, but on the other hand, it explicitly tells the state to use AI to make its own cybersecurity enforcement that much better. So AI is both the target of regulation and the tool for it. Our 4th signal shows a really dramatic escalation in privacy enforcement. China's main privacy law, the PIPL, is now being enforced with a powerful extraterritorial effect. That means it can reach you even if you're not in China. I mean, just look at these numbers. A 65% jump in high-level privacy cases in a single year. This isn't some gradual shift, folks. This is a steep enforcement curve. The courts have clearly been given their marching orders. Now, for any global company, this is absolutely crucial. Think your GDPR compliance is a shield here? It's not. China's PIPL is actually stricter on certain points, and the big one is consent. That single little checkbox buried in a long privacy policy, it is not going to cut it for high-risk stuff like cross-border data transfers. You need separate, specific, unbundled consent. And that leads us directly to our 5th signal. See, China isn't just enforcing its own laws at home, it's actively building its own parallel system for international data governance, one that's designed to operate right alongside the EU's framework. There are basically 3 pillars to this strategy. First, they're guiding their own companies on how to deal with laws like GDPR. Second, they're pouring money into their own autonomous tech stacks to become less reliant on foreign tech. And third, they're building their own network of data sharing agreements, starting with their Belt and Road partners.
Okay, our final signal is a really fascinating one. The government is now taking on a concept that actually started as internet slang but has since become a major economic priority. The term is nejuan, or involution. It's that feeling of a destructive race to the bottom kind of competition where everybody's working harder and harder, but the pie itself keeps shrinking. The best analogy? It's like running faster and faster on a treadmill that's slowing down. And this isn't just some academic idea. When the chairman of one of China's biggest car companies, Geely, comes out and says bluntly, no more involution, you know this sentiment has officially hit the mainstream. The focus is shifting away from pure price wars to competition based on quality and brand. Phew! Okay, we have decoded all 6 signals. Now, let's put it all together. Let's turn this analysis into an action plan. What's the playbook for your business? Here it is. 1. Review your consent mechanisms. That bundled consent is no longer safe. 2. Document everything. The burden of proof is shifting. 3. Map out your cross-border data flows. Know where everything is going. 4. Understand that the PIPL applies to you even if you don't have an office in China. 5. Assess your own algorithms. Could they be seen as fueling that involutionary competition? And finally, number 6, keep a very close eye on those parallel data governance frameworks being built. Because really, that's the single biggest takeaway from all of this. This isn't just about new rules inside China. It's about the emergence of a completely distinct, self-reliant digital and legal ecosystem that plays by its own logic. So the real question isn't just whether you can comply, but whether your entire global strategy is actually ready to navigate 2 parallel worlds.